Spring has finally sprung, but there's a couple things I want you to do before you put those precious seedlings and transplants into the garden. You're in the garden with Patrick, and today we're going to talk about soil amending and testing your soil before you put your plants inside that garden soil.
And I'm actually amending my soil right now with a little bit of stuff. I'll explain that to you in just a second for the spring garden. And what I'm going to do right now is, as you can see in the back here, I've taken all of my tomato plants and thrown those in the recycle, or really it's more the composter. And I'm going to just kind of turn the soil over. I'm not really going to do a whole lot yet, just so that we can kind of speed the decomposition process down a little bit more quicker by mixing up some of the old leaves that I have and some of the dead tomato leaves and vines. Put those in the ground, let those kind of decompose and rot over the next 30 days, and then by the spring they'll be pretty much ready to go. And that's amending your soil and adding more nutrition to your garden naturally. What I'm doing is, as you can see, I left a lot of the leaves and some old tomatoes that kind of fell off the vine when the last freeze that weren't ready. And what I'm basically going to do is I'm going to take that and I'm going to dig in, pretty much get all of the soil loosened up, and I'm just going to let it all kind of decompose over the next 30 days or so.
One of the easiest and inexpensive things that you can do to amend your garden soil is to put some homemade compost into your garden soil. You can either use that as an amendment, or you can use it as a top dressing throughout the year. I did a video on composting 101, how I did that, and basically you can do that for free, as you see here in these compost bins that I made. And please, I'll put the link on that. Please refer to that one on how to make the compost, but I'll give you a quick overview on what we're doing with the compost. But that's one thing that you can use, whether it's a bag of compost or your homemade compost that you're going to use to amend the soil to put more nutrients back into your garden soil. So all I have here is just the leaves from the fall, and I've put them in the grinder. You can use, there's various ways that you can grind this up. You can put it in a bag and step on it. You can also use your weed whacker or use your dryer and reverse it and clean them up and suck them up that way. So there's various ways. So what you want to do when you're amending your soil is you're going to put whatever you're going to use in your ground, and then you're going to mix that up to the first maybe 3 inches of your topsoil and leave it alone. You're going to apply maybe a couple of handfuls of your homemade mulch, maybe 1 handful of your paper, and you could also use some of your leaf mulch. Put that in there, and then all you're doing is going to add that to your soil. And don't worry about the big clumps as far as for the leaves. What that'll do is break down over time as you water. So you see I'm just going down to about maybe 3 inches, applying that into the soil. And that is it. Now, as a compost, that's what we're doing, and we're amending the soil. If you would like to mulch that, especially in this dry, arid climate that we have in El Paso in our 8A or 8B, you want to keep that soil nice and moist and evenly moist. So you can use various things. You can use straw. You can put that on top of that, and that'll help keep the soil moist. You also can use your leaf mulch that you did and put that on top also, or you could do both, but then what that does is that adds to the soil. Eventually that breaks down, so then you'll plant your plant right in here, and that's pretty much how you're going to amend your soil.